I waited 4 months before making a single change because my gut, it told me to watch, not fix. And when I finally spoke, they respected me more.
Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're diving into the question that so many women whisper to themselves after a meeting ends or the Zoom call closes. What if my leadership style doesn't look like theirs? Translation? What if I'm not loud enough? What if I pause before speaking? What if I'd rather build consensus than to dominate? Let me be real with you. That's not a flaw. It's your freaking superpower. Today's theme, this one is all about visibility and advocacy because we don't need to lead like them to lead well. We just need to lead in our own way. Okay, let's get to our first segment, the badass move of the week. And this week's badass move, it comes from yours truly. I recorded a podcast interview. I did my usual question. Do you consider yourself ordinary or badass? And the guest said she didn't resonate with the word badass. She said, it's slang. I don't vibe with it. What? Now, I've had guests call themselves ordinary before. No big deal. But this time, it just hit different. If you can't align with the core of the show, how are you going to share it? So, for the first time ever, I stopped the interview. I apologized, I let her go, and I honored my own standards. And let me tell you, it was so freaking hard. But that's leadership. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's just doing the uncomfortable thing that protects your values. And here's the funny thing. I went onto Instagram and asked the community, and 100% of them said they would have just let the interview play out. Well, that's okay. That would have been me even just a short while back. I totally wouldn't have stopped it because I would have felt too uncomfortable or like too much of a people pleaser. So I was proud of myself for stopping it this time. But I want you to reflect on that for a minute. Would you stop an interview? Or maybe it's somebody giving a presentation to your team and you're not aligning with what they're teaching or what they're saying. What would you do? And here's the thing is like, there's a difference in my mind. Like if you just disagree with something, you're like, oh, that's not how I would do it, but it's just a personal opinion. But when it comes down to like your company's values, maybe you got to say something. So yeah, just reflect on that. When would you feel comfortable speaking up? And when you don't speak up, what is the reason for it? Is it because you just don't want to make somebody feel uncomfortable or awkward? Or is it like, it's just one of these things that's okay to let it slide? All right, moving on. Next segment is from the inbox. A listener asked, how do I stay confident when I'm not naturally high energy and everyone else around me seems so on all the time? Oof, I get that one. As an introvert, I can absolutely relate. But here's the truth. Energy doesn't equal leadership. Clarity does. Presence does. You don't need to match the room to own it. You just need to hold your space with intention. Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts of the episode and let's talk about leadership that looks different and what it actually looks like when you're working in a predominantly male industry. I've been there. I'm there now. I've watched leadership get twisted into ego-driven power plays, people barking orders, telling others what to do, and strutting around like they're the loudest voice and the smartest one. Spoiler alert, it just doesn't work. People don't respond well to that style, especially not long term. It breeds resentment, it shuts down communication, and it damn sure doesn't build trust. So I took a different approach. Yes, I set clear expectations, but then I listen. I asked questions. I paid attention. And shockingly, I learned a lot just by creating some space for real conversations. You don't have to agree with everything your team says, they don't have to agree with everything you say. But when you actually listen, people feel seen. And that changes everything. It's a game changer. Something that I think is often forgotten is that quiet does not equal passive. It just doesn't. Quiet is powerful. It's intentional. It's reading the room, knowing when to speak, and how to speak with impact. Passive is letting people walk all over you. And passive aggressive, whew, that's a leadership killer right there. I've seen women fall into this trap of being passive aggressive, especially in predominantly male industries, because they don't want to stand out too much or they're afraid of seeming like they're too much to other people. But passive aggressive leadership erodes trust. People can't respect what they don't understand. They get confused, frustrated, even angry. Want an example? Here's what not to say if you're checking on someone being late. Oh, wow, look who finally decided to show up. Must be nice to take your time getting in. I didn't know we could just come in as we please now. Sounds like a joke, right? But there's that biting edge. It's criticism without clarity, disapproval without accountability. You're not selling expectations, you're throwing shade, and that will get you nowhere. In predominantly male spaces, I found that directness is a gift. Clarity is kindness. If you want respect, say what you mean and say it with care. And you know what? Sometimes it's like that's something we have to work on is being able to say something more direct. I know our own leadership style is unique, but we also have to know who the audience is, who we're talking to. And if they are going to respond better to being direct, sometimes we do have to do that. We have to accommodate that. So, how can you be just a little bit more direct? How can you just say what you mean? You don't need to perform confidence. Let's kill this lie right now, put it dead in the water. You don't have to perform confidence to be a leader. Confidence isn't about faking it till you make it. It's about listening to your intuition. I once moved into a new unit as a supervisor and it was pure chaos. I had no idea what I was walking into. People were taking long breaks, doing their own thing. The structure was absolutely gone. Everything in me wanted to fix it immediately, but my gut said, wait, observe, listen. So I did for like 4 months, which felt like a damn eternity. I kept my mouth shut. I watched, I learned, I asked quiet questions. Then I called a meeting. After that meeting, I sent an email to everyone that wasn't in the room. And I held one on one conversations with every single employee I supervised. I was nervous. I thought people might rebel, but instead, they respected me more. I didn't come in with a wrecking ball. I came in with intention. I didn't have a playbook. I had instincts. And I'll be honest, most of what I've learned about leadership didn't come from the workplace. It came from my dad, who's a retired teacher and a lifelong coach. Because leadership is leadership. And sometimes the best wisdom come from the people who don't have a badge or a title, but lead through presence, values, consistency. So I have a challenge for you this week. Notice when you shrink or edit yourself to match the room. Then ask yourself, Am I adjusting for strategy or approval? There's a difference. And your presence doesn't need to be louder, just more authentic. Okay, for the pop culture punchline. This episode, Total Anne Hathaway in the intern energy. She led with empathy, vision, and calm. And people questioned her the whole dang way. But guess what? She didn't need to dominate the room. She was the room. You don't have to match their leadership style. You just have to own your own. So say it with me. My leadership doesn't have to match theirs. It just has to be mine. If this episode hit home, head on over to iTunes, leave a 5-star rating and review. Every single time you do that, that helps other badasses just like you to find the show. And you can always screenshot it and send it to me on Instagram, either in my DM or throw it in your stories and tag me at Ordinary to Badass. It's so important that other badasses get to join this movement. Or you can grab my free guide, Breaking Barriers, and you can go to ordinarytobadass.com/breaking barriers. Stop shrinking to fit their version of leadership. You were never meant to play small. Until next time, keep showing up, keep slowing down on purpose, and never ever apologize for leading differently. You weren't made to burn out. You were made to lead on your own terms. Tune in on Thursday for the Badass Debrief, breakdown of this episode, and little nuggets and takeaways that can help power you forward. With that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.